The story begins in Duke of Ravian. A woman is talking to a baby as she questions should they eat now. The baby finds it awesome. She goes on to say that their lady is very kind and does not cry. The woman mentions that she must have been very hungry since she already had everything. However, she does not worry nor cry. The baby thinks that she did not cry or worry not because she is a particularly good or gentle child. It is because she cannot complain at this age because she is living her third life. The woman questions when will the head of the family give her a name. For our protagonist who is already living her third life, it does not matter if she has a name or not because in her previous life she was born as an unwanted daughter by her parents and died miserably. She still remembers how her father mentioned that he was forced by her mother to recognize her and she should not expect to live like his daughter. Her first life was as an illegitimate daughter of a wealthy family, and despite being discriminated since her birth for family matters as well as inheritance issues, and was soon murdered. In her second life she was born as the illegitimate daughter of a demonic cult leader. His father was surprised that she did not even cry when she used to see blood. At least she had thought that her second biological father would be like a real father to her. He took care of her even though she had to study many martial arts to obtain their recognition, but he just kept her alive on a whim. He told her if they let them go like this it would be like revealing to them their skills in martial arts. Tears fell down her cheek as he told her they must attack the root problem. He saw her efforts as a threat to his position and kicked her out. She was called the daughter of the evil devil. They ran after her as she was the daughter of the religious leader. They pursued her relentlessly. Because of that, her second life ended on a cliff. The moment one felt fortunate to be able to end repeated misfortunes, she lived in the worst environment. And now once again she opened her eyes. She remembers the last time she fell off the cliff and wonders where she is. She wonders if she has reincarnated again. She wished to know for how long she is going to be reincarnated. Since she was born, she has to check what the situation is. She sees a person next to her and wonders if it is her mother in this life. She wonders what is going on here and why is she in such a place with a newborn baby. She sees a man and thinks about who he is looking at this place with eyes like that. For some reason, when she saw the man with a sad face, she had a hunch that he is her third biological father. She wonders if she is an unwanted child again in this life. The man approaches her and picks her up as she thinks, where is he taking her? She suddenly feels sleepy and sleeps. She did not know the true intentions of the man who took her then, but one thing is for sure, which is that she has been living in this house for a month, and she is not dead yet. The woman mentions that she is aware that she is disappointed because his lord is not coming, but she should understand his lord cares. She has not seen the father who brought her since then, but for her it is not that important. When she thinks of her past lives, maybe it is better for them to not see each other. She knows it is excellent treatment compared to the previous lives, and she just has to stay quiet and become independent. Someone calls for Miss Radiette as two maids step in at the same time and falls on the ground. The other maid appears and tells them she had told them to be in order. Our protagonist wonders who are these people. The woman calls them Lillian, Hexa and Perry and asks them why are they in such a rush. One maid responds that finally the head of the family decided on a name for the young girl, and her name is Bliss von Ravian. They greets the madam and introduces themselves as Perry. Hexa, who also mentions that her father Helios will come soon, and Lillian, who mentions that when the head of the family arrives, the lady's older Helena will introduce her. She realizes this is a name that appears in a novel called I Am Loved by Everyone, and thinks if it is Bliss Helena von Ravi, an evil woman who is executed for harassing the female protagonist. She understands they are half-sisters. In the original novel, Ravian is an antagonist, and she ends up being destroyed by the male protagonist. She starts to cry as she realizes in the end it means this life of hers is destroyed too. They get worried as they ask her why is she crying. She ponders if there exists a being called God, then he really hates her. Her nanny, Ladyette, is glad that Bliss seems very brave and hopes she grows up healthy and safe. Ladyette had spoken with his lordship before, noting that he had not yet given the young lady a name. He questioned why she was bringing up the matter. Ladyette pointed out that he hadn't even visited the young lady and suggested that he, at the very least, give her a name, remarking on the oddity of the child being without one. His lordship expressed curiosity about the situation, stating that if it concerned the child, he didn't want to hear about it. Reflecting on their history, he thought Ladyette had always been like this, assuming she knew everything. Ladyette apologized upon hearing that his work situation wasn't going well. His lordship asked her to stop, but she persisted, inquiring if he wanted the young lady to end up like Shirsa. His lordship banged on the table, warning her not to mention Shirsa's name carelessly, but Ladyette refused. She insisted that Helios, who had brought the young lady, should take responsibility. Recalling a past conversation, he told Sharissa he'd name the child Bless, and Shressa asked him he must protect her. Lady Et urged Helios to come and see the young lady so he wouldn't regret it, as he had with Shirsa. The novel I Am Loved by Everyone has a female protagonist that grabs everyone's attention. It's a reverse harem novel with 3 male characters. She ponders it's a dreamlike story where all the characters in the novel love and cherish the heroine. It was a story that she read repeatedly in her first life. She really enjoyed reading it thanks to the male leads, but it did not mean she wanted to come into this world. She was obsessed with this novel, from who the male protagonists are to their past and final ending. She thinks maybe she can save Lavian, which is certain to be destroyed, but she really does not want to come forward and knows she should not look forward to it since she does not want to be betrayed. Her third father who did not come to see her, she did not want to do anything good, and not only her father but also her sister. Helena, the evil woman who is the eldest daughter of Lavian, does not only harass the heroine but also bless the illegitimate child and her half-sister. In other words, she also considers her a thorn in her side. Helena finds Bless a shameless person for being an illegitimate child and telling her she does not have a sister, so Bless should behave herself well. In the end, she is destined to die because of her sister's misdeeds. No matter how she looks at it, this family is not gonna benefit her. She wonders what is the point of facing hardships, as no one's gonna care if she is gone anyway. She knows she will save money and leave before Lavian fails. She thinks since they are a dukedom they must have a lot of money. Lady Et sees her and mentions Bless is full of energy today as well. Bless thinks it seems Lady Et is her exclusive maid. Lady Et picks her up and mentions it seems Bless is very calm just like her mother. Bless thinks what she knows about her judging by the behavior of the other maids. She seems to be the highest ranking maid among them, and wonders if she has been at the Duke's house for a long time. She knows that nobody should care about her since she is an illegitimate child, but then why does she have someone like Lady Et by her side? Lady Et asks her, since the weather is nice today, shall they go for a walk? This is her first time going out since she came to the Duke's family and finds it really spacious. Lady Et mentions that she really wishes to introduce her to Lavian, where she belongs, and mentions she is honored to be able to serve the best Duke. In the Lias Empire there were 4 duchies that walked alongside the empire from its inception. The imperial family Lias possesses the blood of a dragon, Lavian of miracles capable of healing all life, Ed of poisons that were capable of handling every kind of poison, Gold of brilliance that was blessed by the spirits, Citadel of eternity that were covered in veils. Each of these duchies are given special abilities. She then thinks, does that mean her body also has an ability? Lavian's healing ability. Lady Et informs her that they have arrived. Lady Et shows her the statue and asks if it is cool. Bless thinks it looks like Helios before Lady Et mentions that it is the first Lavian, as Bless realizes he is not Helios then. Lady Et mentions he looks a lot like the current Duke. A person calls out to Lady Et before behind and questions who they have with them. He questions, is not this the illegitimate child that the Duke of Lavian brought with him? The maids are stunned before he asks if the maids of Lavian's not educated enough. Otherwise, how dare they block his way? Lady Et tells the maids to step back and greets Heinrich von Ed. Bless wonders if that is really him. He is the dark character of the original novel, Heinrich von Ed. He gets whatever he wants at any cost. In the original novel, he was described as the most obsessive person. He uses Helena in the original novel. He was one of the people who destroyed Lavian. She is stunned as she wonders why is this dark character in the Lavian mansion. He tells her that she is his niece. She wonders, is Heinrich her uncle, which means she is an Ed. She is confused before she thinks, if she is the niece of this dark character, it must be important information because there was no such content in the original novel. Lady Ed informs Heinrich that he cannot come here without a notice like this. He questions if that means that an uncle cannot come to see his niece without notice. He tells her that is enough and he will be careful next time. He mentions that his purpose of coming here today has already been achieved and he was just curious. He heard that she looked like this, his sister. Bless suddenly gets stunned and wonders. Something stung her just now. Lady Et tells him that she will not allow any more nonsense, and Bless is their young lady first before she is his niece. He questions, is not there anything that Lavian's maid fears? She responds that it is when he, Heinrich, don't cross the line. He mentions that he will go now and she tells him that he better be careful next time. He tells her to keep an eye on Bless. Lady Ed apologizes to Bless. Blessedly becomes anxious as she realizes she's suddenly out of breath. She does not wish to get sick, even as her life continues. She tried to look away from pain. Her situation became miserable, and in the end she foolishly dreamed of affection from a family. So she really hated being sick. Lady Et tells her to just believe that it is all for her sake. Bless does not know what she means, but because she was the only one who was kind to her, Bless wishes to trust her. Helios thinks that Shirsa was his only blessing and she turned out to be Ed's spy who was sent to destroy him. He remembered a past incident when he accused her of finding it amusing to play with him and mistakenly called her name Shressa before correcting it to Roxiel Von Ed. His misfortune began after discovering her true identity. She apologized for deceiving him all that time but professed genuine love for him, regardless of the mission. She insisted her feelings were sincere and expressed a desire to be happy with him and their child. At that time, Shressa was already pregnant with his child, intensifying his feelings of betrayal. He questioned how he could believe someone who had continuously deceived him, stating that everything she said felt false. She pleaded with him not to say such things, but he insisted that he didn't want to see her and urged her to return to Ed. Months passed since their breakup, with no traces of Shressa. Ed mentioned they didn't know where she was. Filled with worry, he set out to look for her, hoping she was safe. Desperate to find her, he opened a door and saw her lying down, sending horror to his face. As he approached her, he realized the energy he felt was Ed's poison. He wondered if Heinrich was responsible, unable to comprehend how he could do this to his sister. Although he suspected Heinrich might have killed Shressa, he pondered who had caused the situation. He blamed himself for it all and vowed not to push her away like he had before. Seeing a young baby next to her, he realized it was his daughter. Recollecting Shressa's words about naming their daughter Bless if she were a girl, he suddenly snaps back to his senses. Understanding that it was all in the past, he acknowledges that even if he regrets it now, Shressa won't come back. Lady Et suddenly runs into the room and calls out his name as he responds that as he said before, but she cuts him in and tells him there is a problem. Lady Bless has been poisoned, causing Helios to get startled. Lady Et informs Helios that she has barely fallen asleep now. Her condition has worsened since Sir Heinrich visited this morning. She continues that it is clear that he did something to the young lady's body at that time, and if they leave her like this, it will be dangerous. Helios thinks that it was not enough to use Shressa as a chess piece and try to kill him, and how dare he do that to his sister, and now he's trying to kill his sister's only daughter. He asks Lady Et that even this is part of her own plan. He remembers that day when he was chosen as the head of the family. She questions what is he talking about, and there is something else that is more important right now. She asks him that shouldn't he think about how to save Bless. She tells him it does not matter even if he is a Lavian. She questions if he is aware that he cannot do anything on his own. The power of all four duchies is balanced by each other. He asks her so what does she want him to do. She responds that she knows a simple way. All he has to do is bring the blood of the dragon, the blood of the royal family, causing him a surprised expression. The emperor of the Lias Empire is called the Dragon. It is said that their blood contains a power that transcends humans. It used to be coveted by stupid and greedy people, but the end of those who covet the blood of the ruthless dragon is always death. He questions if she is sure that she can be saved if he brings dragon blood. She responds that she is sure. He thinks that he doesn't know what happiness Shressa was talking about yet, but he promises that the blessing she left him, he will protect Bless at all costs. He informs Lady Et that he is leaving for the Imperial Palace. He thinks that the Emperor would be in his office by now. There's nothing they can do about it, even if they wish for Lavian to be subordinated to the Imperial family in return for giving blood and if he could save Shressa's bloodline. Someone mentions from behind what a coincidence to see the Duke of Lavian here. It is a young boy that mentions what the Duke wants is not there. He questions that he came looking for dragon's blood, right? He is the Lias Empire's third prince, Eldian Lias. Helios is shocked to see the third prince of the Lias Empire. He wonders, does that mean the royal family's blood power has been inherited? He tells the third prince that if he knows what he wants, then it seems the third prince can give Helios that. Helios asks what does he wishes for in return. Eldian responds that it is good that the Duke is good-witted. He mentions that it is love for his child and it is extremely unfamiliar to him. Eldian questions should they go to the Duke's house first to save his precious baby. In the Duke Lavian's mansion, Helena is roaming around as she spots Helios and wonders where is father going at this time. She notices that father has been coming here often lately and wonders if there is something here. She looks inside the room and sees Bless. She notices that her face is bright red and thinks if she has a fever. She gets worried and asks her where does it hurt. She knows in times like this if she had been properly able to control Lavian's power, she would have been able to heal her, but instead she will be by her side because it is lonely to be alone when she is sick. She asks if the baby would like that she sings a song for her. She sings a song for Bless and realizes someone is coming. She wonders what she should do since she will get in trouble if they find out she is walking around in the middle of the night. She hides under a closet and hears someone say the Duke's precious daughter and thanking someone for their kindness. She gets stunned as she realizes this is her father's Helios voice. They leave as she ponders that she doesn't know what the conversation was about. She repeats the sentence, the precious daughter of Duke, and knows it does not seem like they were talking about her. She wonders, does that mean this baby is her father's beloved daughter? She notices that the baby's eyes are the same dark purple as father's, and when it comes to her eyes, they are very light. She knows it is pretty and mentions father never comes to see her, but she came to see this baby. She wonders, why does father never come to see her? And wonders, is it because she bears no resemblance to her father? Tears fall down her cheek as she asks the baby if she works harder, will father come to see her too? She sits down on the floor as she mentions that she hopes father will love her too. Bless ponders that it has been 2 weeks since she possessed, and she is faced with the biggest crisis of this life, which is Helena on her side, as she mentions their father is the strongest mage in the empire, and questions he is amazing, right? Bless is not interested at all. She knows this kid's stories are all about Helios and wants her to stop. There were 2 big changes after she woke up from suffering from Ed's poison. One of them is that Helena started visiting her. Bless is sure of it. This black hair and light purple eyes. She is the original story villainess Helena. The second thing that changed is that Helios also started to show his face here, which makes Bless annoyed because he came. Even when he does come, all he does is look at her and leave, so she doesn't know what he wants to do, and it is stressful for her. Helena tells her that everyone says that she cannot meet Daddy. Maybe they are saying that because Daddy does not want to meet her, but she wishes to see Daddy though. She thinks maybe it is because she is her mom's daughter and mom and dad seem to be on bad terms. She asks Bless what she can do to get acknowledged by her father. Bless thinks it is not that she listens to them well. Helena wants to receive her parents' affection just like how she used to in the past. Bless wonders, how did she not realize this sooner? Had she thought about this for a moment, as much as Helios was indifferent to her, she would have realized that he wouldn't have been able to give proper affection to Helena, too. Since she is at her 3rd life with this, she has already given up on familial affection. But if the reason Helena became a villainess by being won over by Heinrich was actually due to her father Helios' indifference, Bless realizes that it is bothering her. Helena mentions that still it is nice that she can talk to her about Daddy, so she's going to keep coming back to see her, and Bless should not forget about her as well. Bless knows that she is getting bored of laying down all day too, so wouldn't it be fine to listen to Helena's story until she leaves? Bless grabs Helena's hands and knows this much should be fine. A man stares at them from outside the door. He turns around in annoyance as he mentions what a pushover. Around them, the bored socialite circle was noisy with a new topic. A woman questions if they heard the rumors about the relationship between Levian and Ed families. A man mentioned that the Ad family tried to assassinate Lavian's child Dot, and curses Lavian. There is a rumor that the Duke personally cured her and wonders, could he be thinking of taking that child as an official member? The first rumor was about the Lavian's child. The woman questions if they have heard about the second prince, and asks if he passed away, right? Further asking if it was a carriage accident. No, there are 4 left out of 6. The other one was about who would be the emperor's successor. A boy pushes Eldian, the 3rd prince of the Lia's empire, as he falls on the floor. The boy mentions that it was not a bug but a person here, and now that he looks again, it makes sense that he could not recognize him since crawling on the floor like a bug suits him. He's the 1st Imperial Prince, Risal Shayano Elias. Eldian turns around as he calls him Hyung and tells him it hurts. Risal is irritated by the word Hyung as he tells him to get that Hyung stuff out of the way if he does not want to actually die. He further questions whether Eldian thinks he's an idiot to not know he ignored him in front of the father, acting like he did not know anything. Eldian responds that he never did any of that, and it is a misunderstanding as he again calls him Hyung. This causes Risal to be frustrated as he yells for him to shut up. He mentions maybe Eldian thinks he has become something, for getting father's attention, but questions does he think anything is going to drop on his lap for that. Eldian responds that he never thought of something like that before. Risal grabs him from the collar and yells at him to shut his mouth. He further tells Eldian that he should stay on the floor like that for the rest of his life and to not arrogantly covet after his place. He pushes Eldian again as he tells him to piss off. Risal leaves as Eldian sits on the floor and mentions he has quite a temper. Someone mentions from behind that guy is a real piece of trash. Eldian turns around to see Lamiar, Eldian's servant. Eldian mentions that at least he acts pretty nice in front of others. Lamiar gets angry as he responds. That is why he is even more despicable, and if he wasn't a prince, he would have already before Eldian cuts in between and questions him. What happened to the thing he asked him to check? Lamiar responds that they said she's safe, that little kid, and she lived through the dragon's blood. A few days ago at Duke Lavian's residence, Eldian gently cut his finger, letting a small drop of blood form. The drop fell onto Bless's forehead, and as it touched her skin, it seemed to be absorbed. Eldian knew he still needed dragon blood, but he had overcome this hurdle. If the Duke agreed to the deal, he was willing to provide blood regularly. Helios asked him what he wanted, and Eldian turned around, stating he had 2 requests. First, he wanted the demon sword in Helios's possession, and Helios had to promise to give him that sword. Helios was stunned, trying to respond, but Eldian revealed that he knew the sword was kept in Lavian because it maddened its wielder. Eldian suggested using a great wizard to control him when he gained the demon sword and hide him where the Duke was when the time came. Eldian's second condition was that he would return before becoming an adult, as the body wouldn't withstand it. Helios mentioned it was a low-odds gamble. Eldian responded that it wasn't something for the Duke to consider. What mattered was that only the dragon blood he offered could neutralize Ed's power. He questioned if Helios would surely agree, to which Helios stated he didn't know the source of the information. However, the answer he could give now was set, and he thanked Eldian for the deal. Eldian also expressed his gratitude. At this point, with the competition for the throne intensifying due to the succession of power, the third prince, Eldian lacked significant support. He seemed to be aiming to obtain the demon sword to gain an advantageous position in this competition. Helios knew that to keep the promise, he needed to resolve internal problems first, and he had to hurry and prepare. A person mentions that this is ridiculous and he is giving the West Wing to that child, and questions is not that a historic place built by the first clan head himself. It's Duke Lavian's family meeting. The man mentions that it is a disgrace to the house to even accept that child at the Lavian household, and the West Wing is too much to do for such a girl. The other man mentions that if it is for Ed's sake, then there are other wings as well. Helios, who is angered by their remarks, mentions that is strange and questions did they originally have the right to discuss his daughter's residence. He adds that if they continue to look down on his daughter by calling her a stupid child, he will take it as a challenge to him as the Duke. The atmosphere becomes cold as the Duke stands up and mentions if they have any complaints about his decision, they should speak to him at any time and he will personally make them never be able to speak again. Before leaving, he says, "Bless von Lavian." That is the child's name. Meanwhile, Bless is outside as Lady Et questions is this whole place the lady's residence. She questions if Lord Valentine is joking. Bless knows she is not the only one who thinks this is strange. Lord Valentine mentions that since the Duke has transferred the title of the West Wing to the lady, it is not a joke. He is Harold I Valentine. Lord Valentine further mentions that the Duke plans to announce it at the elders' meeting as well, so they should not worry. Lady Et finds it unbelievable. She understands since the room she has been staying in so far does not seem to be appropriate for a baby. She remembers a few days ago Helios came into the room and mentioned this will not do and they cannot let her stay like this forever, so they should move the room. She was scared that Bless might be thrown to the warehouse. She wonders who gives a whole building to your newborn baby. And is Helios really crazy? Lord Valentine mentions that it seems he's trying to solidify the lady's position at this opportunity, and it sure is a bold move to give the most historic West Wing to her. Bless is shocked to hear that is the most historic West Wing. She wonders what kind of change of heart he had while she was sleeping. She knows it is not bad, but it's a bit of a burden. Lord Valentine mentions that they shall head in sight. Bless realizes that Helena does not know that she has moved, and Helena has not been visiting much lately. She wonders if something is wrong. Meanwhile, Helena is shocked to see that Bless is not in the room. She remembers she was here just a minute ago. Someone from behind mentions that he knew she'd be here again. He is Jägers von Radians, Helena's butler. He grabs her as he mentions that he told her she should not come here. She trembles as she responds that she is a member of Ed who inherits the will of her mother, so she should not become close to the people of Lavian. He questions she hasn't forgotten, has she? And she will also follow Ed's wishes, will she? She responds of course she will. He mentions it is good that she is aware of that. He tells her that the baby she is looking for has moved to the West Wing. Since she seems to be worried about that baby, he has prepared a moving gift for the baby and questions will she go see the baby. She gets excited as she questions if she can really go, and is that okay? He responds of course, and he has prepared the gift with something lovely. Flashback, Jägers bangs his hand on the wall as he is irritated. He mentions Shressa even in death is still troublesome. He curses Bless and ponders could one spot any trace of Ed's bloodline in that appearance. It seems that even the head of the Lavian family is starting to pay attention to her. He looks at a rabbit stuffed doll and mentions that there is still a way. He wonders if Nana explosion can be handled by mere luck. Helena meets Bless and gives her the rabbit toy as she mentions that it is a housewarming gift for her. Bless gets excited and Helena wonders that she has not seen her for a while, but she managed to know that she lives in a western palace and she was worried that something might have happened to her, but she is glad that Bless is okay. Helena asks Bless if Daddy did not come today. Bless ponders. As always, it's only about Helios. Now that she thinks about it, it is strange as he always comes around this time. Helena mentions what if Daddy had been here. She would not have been able to give Bless a gift, as Helios would not like her coming here because she is Mom's daughter unlike Bless. Helena finds Bless so lucky. Helena apologizes because she said something strange, and it is because she can talk freely to Bless. Bless ponders that it seems Helena thinks her father hates her, but she still wants to be loved by him. For Bless, it is like she is seeing herself in her previous life. Helena asks her is not this doll pretty, and tells her the butler prepared it for her, and even allowed her to come here, especially this time. Helena now realizes that it is time for her to go and tells Bless she will come back again next time. Bless knows that Helena is lonely and wishes Helena could get closer to Helios. Bless is worried because Helena is like her in her previous life. Ladyette comes in and asks Bless if she had a good time with Lady Helena. Bless ponders that Ladyette knows when Helena has to leave, and thanks to that Helena was able to come here comfortably. Ladyette sees the doll as she mentions what a lovely gift Bless has been given. She tells Bless that Helios will be here soon, so she should wait a little. Bless tries to respond in irritation that she was not waiting for Helios. Bless ponders that it is not a wonder for Ladyette to say that. As a matter of fact, since she moved into the West Wing, Helios has paid her a visit every day. She thought something had changed because he gave her the historic building, but she did not think it would be this much. He reads her a fairy book. As she ponders reading a fairy tale book himself, she knows something has changed since she got sick. However, this look is still unfamiliar to her. He decides to stop here for now and mentions he is aware that he has been choosing anything for her until now, but once she can speak she will be able to tell him anything she needs. She really cannot adapt to this thing, her father giving her a present. This is the first time she has ever received something from her family since her second life. This is how it feels to be cared for by someone. She thinks back to when she first met Helios and she could not even imagine this. Helios asks Ladyette, so did Helena visit today? She mentions that she arrived and left before the Lord did. Bless is stunned to know he knows about it. He tells Bless that the child is her sister. He would like to formally introduce her to Bless, but she's uncomfortable around him and won't come if he's there. Bless understands that Helena thought Helios hated her, so she always seemed to be waiting for her father to look back at her. But it turns out Helios also has the same thought as Helena. The maid questions if they should set up a separate seat, but he responds that he does not want to force it. Bless wonders, maybe their misunderstanding is preventing them from approaching each other. Helios was not very affectionate at their first meeting, but she knows he is someone who can cherish his family now. Helena is still so young, so she must be looking for familial affection. There's no other details, but the two of them have not spent time together so far. Unlike her previous life, they could have been a harmonious family. She wonders if there is nothing she can do. She knows it might tell before her own satisfaction, but she wishes to see both of them happy with each other even when she leaves. Lord Helios tells Ladyette that he is leaving for work. She asks him if he is preparing to welcome the third imperial prince. He agrees and mentions she should take care of Bless in the meantime. She tells him to not worry. As long as she is here, the young lady will be safe. He leaves as he mentions he hopes that was not a bluff. The maid mentions that Ladyette has changed a lot and even more than she saw in her dreams. Ladyette responds that that child is doing more than they expected. The maid seems a bit concerned about that doll as she asks Ladyette if it will be okay. Ladyette questions the one Helena brought. It seems that Helena's butler decided to act when the Lord was about to leave, and at that time she hid the doll's energy for a while so Helios does not notice. She knows it is only a matter of time until the artifact causes a magic explosion. Ladyette tells the maid to not worry as Bless will overcome it, because if she cannot overcome it, she will die. Helios goes to the location where the first of Lavian's legendary sealed swords is. He heard that those who coveted the sword would face their inner anxiety and fear, consumed by the energy of the demon sword, and they would be filled with madness. If we did not make the deal with the prince, he would not have come to this place to use this demon sword to define his position. The power of the third prince can be core subdue. Helios suddenly halts before he looks back. He wonders, what was that? He felt an unfamiliar mana coming from the West Palace barrier. 10 minutes ago in the Duke Lavian office, Helena tells the butler that she has done all her homework. He tells her that she did well. She questions if she can leave now. He tells her before she leaves should they do a quiz to see the young lady's understanding. She agrees and tells him to ask her anything. He tells her that Levian is said to be born with enormous mana from generation to generation. He questions at what age does one's mana pathway open. She responds the fastest is 3 years old and the latest is 8. He tells her it is correct and questions what will happen if a newborn baby's mana opens enormously. She responds, the mana will explode as much as the baby holds out, and it can endanger one's life. If the baby does survive, using magic will be impossible forever. He tells her she did excellent. He further mentions so disguising a magic amplification artifact as a gift is a classic assassination against the barrier of the wizard families. She questions what does disguise as a gift means. He responds just a doll she gave to the baby. She is confused before he mentions that it has been 2 days since young lady gave the doll and mana explode must be slowly awakened. He congratulates her for being the only heir of Lavian. She is confused as she wonders what he is talking about, that the baby will die in a mana explosion. He tells her this is all for the young lady. She wonders if that means she will die because of the doll she gave her. Suddenly the floor starts to shake as the maid comes running in and tells her she needs to evacuate as there is an explosion in the Western Palace. Helena cannot believe it as tears drop from her eyes. Helena thinks the baby cannot die because of her. She runs towards Western Palace. Helena mentions to herself that she needs to save that child. Bless wonders what is happening. Everything is covered in smoke and she cannot see anything. She feels sick to her stomach all of a sudden, and her ears feel like they're about to explode. It is painful as her stomach is twisted. She ponders she just felt a little bit of happiness in this life and wonders will she die alone like this too in this life. She begins to cry as she wanders. She's scared and asks for someone to save her. She suddenly hears someone calling her name and sees Helios. He tells her she is safe now, and her dad is here. She looks at him for a while before she ponders her dad is here as she hugs him. She got to know that words could be so comforting while living in this third life. They get out of the building as she thinks the building is completely ruined and what the hell is happening. Helena comes running towards the building as Bless looks behind to see Helena, horrified to see Helios there. She calls out to her dad. Helios asks her with a concerned look, why is she here? Helena gets teary-eyed as she ponders Dad is angry because she put the baby in danger. Helios tells her to get out of here first as it is dangerous. She begins to apologize as she mentions she gave the doll to Bless and the butler. Bless realizes it all happened because of that doll that the butler gave to her. She cannot believe he made a kid do such a thing. Helena starts to cry as she apologizes and mentions she just thought it was a pretty doll and she just wanted to give it to the baby. Bless knows this is not Helena's fault. What mistake can a little kid who needs the love of her family can possibly make? Therefore, she wishes to say, it is all right. Helios approaches Helena and assures her this is not her fault. He mentions that he is not going to be mad at her and her dad is always on her side and Bless is always safe so she should not cry. Helena questions, is she still his daughter then? He tells her of course and extends his hands towards her. He calls out her full name, Helena von Levian, and tells her to come towards his side. She stares at him for a moment before she hugs him tightly. He mentions that this situation is unfortunate but the baby here is her little sister and her name is Bless. He further tells her that he feels sorry for introducing both of them just now. He then asks Bless if it is her turn to introduce. Helena blushes as she excitedly calls out Bless and says so it seems her name is Bless. She tells her that her name is Helena and she is her sister. Bless realizes so this is how it feels. She ponders that since she has always been neglected by her family she dared to give up on being loved by them. But these people seem like they will treat her as if she is a part of their family if she decides to be greedy in this life. She wishes to live happily with them and she ponders that she finally have found her family. A few days after the explosion incident, the restoration of the West Palace barrier went faster than expected. After suing the butler, Helena is finally freed from his mental abuse. In addition, when he comes to find Bless along with his daughter, Bless finds it a harmonious Lavian family, and together with them, this thing which calls out to Bless. Bless is annoyed as she questions what the heck is she. She responds that she is Mana. Bless wonders if there was a setup like this in the original novel. Bless finds it unbelievable and wonders if this is the effect of the last Mana explosion. Now that she thinks about it, Dad and her heard a baby's laugh after the explosion. It does not seem dangerous, but the results of her investigation about this unidentified being is that it can only be seen by her. The second thing is that it can read her mind. The third thing is that it takes care of her. And if she puts everything together, she does not think that this thing will cause her any harm. She names her Cloudy and mentions if she keeps chasing after her, it's alright to give her a name. Cloudy gets very excited that it got a name. Claudia mentions that she is Cloudy and she likes Bless. The things she can do are limited with this body, but if she has Cloudy, she wonders if it can help her with the future plan. From now on, it's not simply having a good life for herself, but she also needs to prevent the downfall of Lavian. She knows that this is her first family, and rather than losing it helplessly, she hopes she can protect it, and that is why she has to twist the original novel. First, she needs to make Helena not to be attracted to the male protagonist. She thinks the present Helena might not, but in the original novel the main protagonist bullied her because she liked him. Next, she needs to build connections to protect Lavian from anyone who wants to harm them. She knows this is the privilege of knowing the future. 20 years right before the original novel began. The developed minds, the trends, and all of the hidden characters can be used no matter who the character is. If it is to protect this home, she will do anything, and their priority is to find it in the butler's room. She asks Cloudy if it can take her somewhere. Meanwhile, Helios mentions this doll is a camouflaged magic amplification artifact. He couldn't feel anything when he came to bless the room, and mentions that concealing the doll's energy is definitely her doing, right? He turns around and questions if Ladyette does not have anything to say. She apologizes before he mentions that he does not want a simple apology from him. He continues that she was the one who said she would protect Bless, but as soon as he was away, she put her in danger, and if it was not for her concealed energy, this thing would not have happened. He questions how he should trust her now. She responds it was something inevitable, and soon the Demon King will awaken. Helios is stunned as he questions what. She further mentions that in order to compete with the Demon King, Bless's mana has to be awakened quickly. He mentions nothing is confirmed yet. The oracle has yet to come. He is horrified before he tells her even if she is going to do this, she must at least talk to him before doing it. She questions if she talked to him before would he have given her the permission. She tells him to not act like a spoiled child. The royal family and the 4 ducal families are needed to contain the Demon King. She believes he knows that better than anyone else. Lavian is the Demon King's natural enemy, after all. She tells him that he should also help the young lady, and that is the role given to them. The attendant comes into the room suddenly and mentions they have a problem. It seems that Eager's, Helena's butler, has run away. Meanwhile, a man mentions that it seems like Lavian's guards are stricter than before, and just to get out he even used that person's power. The man tells Eager to behave until he calls him again. He looks at the painting of Shressa and mentions her daughter is tough and guesses she takes after her father. He wonders if her name was Bless as he finds it a funny name. No matter what bullshit Eagers has spoken, the mana explosion is an obvious truth, but he heard she has survived the explosion. He knows he underestimated her, and he never thought she'd survive that accident. He knows even with a little bit of Ed's power she could stand in the way of his future plan. He continues that at the time when he was about to wake up she was born in Lavian, and they will see if she is really his natural enemy, or not. The new oracle will come soon and he cannot wait for it. On the other hand, in the ex-butler's room, Bless mentions that he hid it pretty well and she finally found it. Ed and the Information Guild's secret card. In the original novel, this guild fell to Heinrich's temptation and lived as his hand and feet. When the group was on the brink of destruction, they met the female protagonist and were saved. She knows they specialize in information. It will be helpful in the future. She knows if she can walk and speak, then she will go on full force. She will grow diligently like a bee to protect Lavian. After she made up her mind, she grew up as time flew by. 7 years later, she is informed that Lady Helena is here as she gets excited and questions is she. Bless 1 Lavian is 7 years old. Original Loved by Everyone novel is like a reverse harem novel where an attractive male lead appears to the point that it would be understandable for Helena to be jealous of the female lead. A man apologizes and mentions it was just a joke. He tells her reaction is quite fun to watch, further mentioning that he will come and find her very soon. Another man tells her to be careful and questions how she could be clumsier than him. And another one mentions that he wishes to be with her, and it does not have to be him. She should not just leave him. The female lead, Bella, fell for the handsome male leads. She wakes up and realizes it was a dream. She notices that she was not called Bless but as Bella. She wonders should not they call the female lead by her name. She feels something off. Someone questions what is with her expression. It is Helena, who is 13 years old. Bless mentions that she had a strange nightmare, but seeing her face makes her feel better. Her leader responds that if she was in her dream, she would have taught those bullies a lesson. Bless thanks Helena for comforting her. During those 7 years, there were a lot of changes. First of 2 of the 4 royal family princes were killed. There were fierce conflicts between the first and third prince, and Heinrich succeeded to the Duke of Ed. Fabian Gold, a nominee to the original male lead, was born. Bless asks if Helena is not busy and she does not have to walk her every time. Helena responds that it is okay and she just likes to be with Bless before Helena asks if Bless is bored of her. Bless responds there is no way and that is not true. She wishes to be with her all the time. It has become a struggle because everything is being adjusted to fit the original world. So that is why her plan is to do just what she's supposed to do. Bless raises her hand and tells her teacher that she has a question to ask. Her teacher asks her what is the question. She is known as Countess Langt. She tells the teacher that she heard Bless's family is from a lineage of mages, so she heard their mana is extraordinary. She questions if mana's shape is different from regular mana. Her teacher responds that it is a little different. The form of mana takes on a shape when it is set to communicate intentions. Those who can see them are blessed. In other words, they are known as transcendent beings. The last confirmed transcendent was 1,000 years ago, so there is no way to verify the truth. Bless wonders if there was something like this in the original story. The teacher continues that the transcendent from 1,000 years ago is said to be the ancestor of the Lavians. It is said that he faced the Demon King. That is why Lavian is known as Miracle Lavian and is the enemy of the Demon King. The teacher informs her that she is also a Lavian, so this story is connected to her too. She thinks about a being that can communicate and wonders if it is Cloudy. Eldian mentions that it has been a while since they have talked one-on-one to the Duke. Helios questions should not meeting near the palace be dangerous. Eldian responds so what? There are rumors that he has allied with the Ed family. Before telling him it was a joke, he mentions that he is just here to check on Helios. He questions that Helios hasn't forgotten about their deal, has he? Helios tells him that he will give him the demon sword when the time is right. That is only if he can keep his seat till then. Eldian mentions then he will just assume it is done. Eldian asks how was today's banquet and he came just to see what the nobles were up to, right? The Lavian will succeed over the Ed family line. Helios mentions that he is not sure who spread that rumor, but their intention is obvious. Honestly, he does not really care which child succeeds the Lavians. Eldian questions will he just follow their plan. Helios responds, does Eldian really think he would? He will start making his move soon enough as he needs to show them he is still strong as ever. Helios questions if that is the answer Eldian wished to hear. Eldian claps his hand as he mentions Helios is fabulous and he really likes him. Helios knows that he still has no hesitation using people, but he seems a bit more relaxed than before. It does not like how the prince gets to do whatever he wants, but he cannot do anything about it. A man approaches Helios as Halwa questions what is it. It is Count Karas, the elder of the Lavians. He mentioned that he heard that Helios attended the banquet for the first time in a while, and questions how are the rumors around the Lavians. Helios mentions so this is why he is here before Karas states that has been pridefully working as a vassal of the Lavians, so he cannot understand why Helios just watches while Levian's reputation is being tarnished. He mentions that Lady Helena is of mixed Ed family's blood, right? He is doubtful of the Lavians' future because of the lack of legitimacy, and the second child is also an illegitimate child. His point is that they are one of the top 4 families, so they cannot destroy the balance. Helios smiles as he ponders that he will be shocked if he finds out about Bless Mother. Helios tells him that he understands his point. He questions that he intends to show that he is still proud of Lavian, right? Karas responds that he is right. Helios mentions that he also had the same thought after the banquet. Helios tells Karas that his upcoming birthday party will be held in public, so he should make sure he is well prepared. The only one on the continent with the Great Wizard title is Helios von Lavian, the current Duke of Lavian. He is a close-minded person, although he is the head of the 4 ducal family. He is rarely seen unless called by the Emperor. Official banquet has been held even once since his succession to the dukedom. Rissal ponders that a guy like that would use his first banquet to show off his daughters. Fatherly love is more tearful than he thought, while he is glad to know his weakness. If Helios' daughter becomes his wife, Helios will have no choice but to support him. Rissal informs his father that the Duke of Lavian is holding a birthday banquet in public. Emperor of the Lias Empire, Lethius Shayanau Lias mentions that he has heard about it. Rissal mentions that if he allows him, he would like to participate as a representative of the imperial family and it is the Duke's first official event. The Emperor questions if Eldian is not willing to go. Eldian responds that Rissal said it first so he will yield. Rissal ponders that it is impudent and he thought the atmosphere had changed these days. The Emperor allows Rissal to attend as the representative of the imperial family. Rissal ponders that if he will be able to be that relaxed even after he gets Lavian's support, and mentions that let's see where they go Eldian. After hearing the story about the last transcendent 1,000 years ago being a Lavian, started investigating whether it would be helpful in protecting her family. The transcendent talks to the form of mana. She also found out that they have precognitive dreams. After learning this fact, she began to wonder if she, too, had such talent. If she is a professor, she should have at least one of those benefits. The form of mana and precognitive dreams. Not that she thinks about it. She has been having strange dreams lately. Silver hair and blue eyes guy. Blonde and golden eyes guy and black hair and green eyes guy. She knows they are exactly like the male leads from the original novel. She thinks maybe this happened because she knows what the male lead looks like and she's not sure about this, so she will skip it. She understands what is left is the shape of Mana. She first met Cloudy. She introduced herself as Mana. The form of Mana takes on a shape to communicate its intentions. She thinks that is not true under the circumstances but wonders would not it be more accurate if she asks personally. Calls out to Cloudy and questions is she an embodiment of Mana or something like that. Claude mentions that she is the shape of Mana. The form of Bless is Mana. Bless was recognized by Cloudy. Bless is shocked as she thinks that she cannot believe it and wonders if this is for real. Then it means maybe she is a transcendent being in this life. The maids approach her and ask, what is their lady thinking? She wonders what happened to the people who have not come out of the West Wing for the past 7 years. She asks how did she get here, and she usually does not go to places where there are a lot of people. She responds because today is a special day and it is mentioned that Lady Helena and the Duke will arrive at the banquet hall soon. One mentions that she has dressed a young lady so beautifully so she has to maintain it until the end. Les realizes that today is her dad's birthday banquet, and it is her sister's first social debut. But she did not think it was on this scale. Lady Et questions if she is nervous, and tells her to not worry as everyone will like her. Bless ponders that Lady Et should not worry, since she had given up the hope that people would like her or view her favorably long ago. Of course, with her father's protection. The two heirs are on good terms, thanks to taking advantage of a child's cuteness. Her position in the mansion is not bad. But she knows that the opinion outside is different. In a society where illegitimate children are looked down upon, her position is bound to be constrained. You were in the original story. Dissatisfaction with her led to distrust Helena, the legitimate successor. And so people started to claim that Helena, who failed to manifest her family's power, was lacking in potential and such. Eventually, people began to say that she could not be trusted, as she is the bloodline of the Eds. Bless ponders that it is clear that this kind of external gaze will jeopardize their position at some point. That is probably why Dad threw them this banquet. Helios and Helena approach her. Bless mentions that they too look so cool. Helena mentions that Bless is also very pretty today. Helios tells them that they should not go. Bless ponders that her family who always watches over her warmly. Their presence is announced as Bless ponders that she will endure all the stares of others if that is for her family's peace. She thought so, but people keep talking about her. She knows she has received looks like this many times in her past life too. Since there are so many people, it is inevitable that she will get tired. Harold asks her if she is very tired. She responds that it is okay if this is the fate of a prominent figure, she will bear it. He questions where on earth did she learn such words. Bless ponders. Of course, the main character, Dad, is busy. She sees a boy bullying Helena as she rushes over and points at him as she asks him who he is. Bless gets angry and yells at him. She questions who is he. She repeats, who is he to bother her sister? Those boy questions, is she not the illegitimate child? He mentions that he was only using purification to heal Lady Helena. He apologizes that he forgot to introduce himself. He introduces himself as Frey von Agenta. He mentions he is a Lavian from the Agenta family, who wields the power of healing better than Lady Helena. He apologizes for his recklessness and mentions it is a shame that a direct Lavian, who of course can use the healing magic, is not allowed to use it. Bless wonders if he is saying that Helena is not worthy of being an heir. In reality, the power of the royal family and the four dukes is manifested regardless of direct lineage or class. When the power of one generation grows to an extent, it gathers into one person. The possibility of a direct descendant being a successor is high, but it is not an absolute possibility. Amongst the Lavian family, their unique ability is healing magic. Bless her that Helena is not capable of her ability yet. But she did not know it was to the extent of not being able to heal herself. Free tells Helena to not worry about Lavians since she cannot use their ability. Luckily, the power of the family can appear outside of direct lineage like him. He further mentions that if the most appropriate person inherits the position of the head family before he is stopped by Bless, she ponders. Even if he is young and does not know much, she cannot stand it anymore. She tells him that he just crossed a line. Even though it is her dad's birthday banquet, it is also a day to strengthen family solidarity. She tells him even if he despises her, is a person who befriends a direct line of the family, really, a person who should represent the Lavian family. She further tells him that his actions are only making them look like fools. She gets more furious as she cautions. And why did he push her sister? She questions a person who is using healing magic supposed to hurt someone. She asks him to apologize to her now. Helena smiles before she mentions the Bless is right. She continues that as they know, the family's ability is not only given to direct descendants, and he of all people should know that. She tells him, making a bold statement about something that is not even confirmed yet is only allowing others to look down more upon the Lavians. She tells him one more thing as she mentions that this is her personal feelings. Bless is her one and only sister. Setting aside the Levian direct lineage issue, Helena tells him to apologize to Bless for his rude actions. Bless knows that Helena does not even like speaking up, but for her she is. He seems embarrassed as Bless ponders at least he knows it is embarrassing. She knows that talking about being the successor is not befitting of a kid's behavior, and one of the adults probably made him do that. She further thinks that having the qualification probably means having the skill, and she should think about building the Lavians and not destroy it. She tells him that she understands he has pride as a Lavian, but his actions are not right. She tells him if he is really thinking on behalf of the Lavians, then he should apologize. She knows if he just apologizes for his reactions, he will probably become a better guy. He apologizes and mentions he just caused a great commotion. Helios approaches them and mentions, seems like this situation is solved. He calls out to Helena and Bless as he mentions he knew that if it were them it would have ended. He tells him even though there was some commotion, he apologized and they should act as if nothing has happened. He further mentions that he will not call out his parents right now, but these two children are the direct descendants of the great Lavians, and at the same time they are his children, and he's also the head of the house. So he tells the parents of the child to be aware. Helios then asks Count if he's excited for what comes to the future of the Lavians. Bless us, confused, before Cohen mentions that he agrees and the future of the Lavians is very bright. The Corn formally introduces himself and mentions he is the elder of the Lavians, Count Karas. He mentions he met Lady Helena at a very young age, but now she has become a proud Lavian. He admires the way she de-escalated the situation and brought pride to their family. Helena mentions that she was only doing her job. He also tells the Bless whom he is meeting for the first time that even though she is young she held her pride and represented the Lavians in a good way. He mentions that he also looked back on himself because he had a prejudice already in his mind because she was an illegitimate child. But above all else, change was brought by the kids, the Lavians, including the Duke. He tells her that he hopes they continue to meet. She finds it insulting. Helios tells them if by chance there's a problem within the family and he's not here, then they should ask for help from the Count. He tells it to especially Bless as she mentions okay before realizing and questioning why is he always picking on her. First Prince Risal Sheino Elia's presence is announced.